Dylan Harper is the son of Bulls legend Ron Harper and is known for being a big, shifty guard. In my eyes, he's the best shot creator and scorer in this entire draft. And he's just one of 5 NBA prospects that I've picked for our prospect week this year, where we have a prospect for every single day of the week. So make sure you stick around for the rest of the week. Talk about some prospects. So Dylan Harper, 19.4 points on the season, 4.6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 2.4 turnovers, and 34% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. So, like I said, I think he is the greatest scorer in this draft, best scorer in this draft. And he's a pretty solid point guard. 4.2 assists, 2.4 turnovers a game. I think he gets to his spots pretty well. He drives downhill with both hands. He's ambidextrous. You don't really see that a lot, especially for a guy coming into the NBA who's playing at college. He's a teenager. So very impressive to see a guy finish with both hands at the rim. I see it a lot like Shai, and we'll talk about comparisons a lot later. I'm not saying he's going to end up like Shai, because even Shai coming into the NBA doesn't play like Shai does now. Some other kind of comparisons are like bigger guards like Harden, Luka, then you get the smaller guards like Kyrie and Brunson who drive to the hole super, super well. So that's where I see that kind of his main strength is attacking and penetrating at the rim. He can shoot a little bit, like I said, 34% from 3 on 5 attempts a game, so making about 2 a game. So I think his percentages are going to be able to go up during the season. But 100% his best attribute is that he can take it to the rim. I mean, being 6'6" in that aspect helps a ton. I think he's a great guard. In terms of being a pure point guard, we'll talk about that later, but his build, I mean, for being 6'6", he's really, really good. He can be good as a pure point guard, like I just said, but his upside's more in the scoring department. His assist to turnover ratio isn't terrible. It's about 2 to 1 every assist to turnover, but especially at that age, that's really, really good. I mean, you watch Rutgers, and he's got him, and then maybe another prospect week contestant person, Ace Bailey, on his team as well, who's a projected top 5 pick in this year's draft as well. His gravity at his age allows him to do a lot of things, and he's learning how to use that gravity. So he'll catch the ball at the top of the key, drive in, and it's a classic driving kick. And I know people in the NBA are talking about how they don't like, or fans of the NBA talk about how they don't like it's just all drive and kick, but you're recognizing your gravity. I can score at the rim, so are you going to stop me getting 2, or are you going to leave a guy wide open to shoot a 3? If we're talking about him being a pure point guard, his best skill is that driving kick. So he could drive in, finish the rim with both hands, like I said, so he's very deadly. Mid-range is very, very good as well. But then he can kick out. He's made some really, really good passes in that aspect that I've seen. And I think coming into the NBA where guys can shoot better, they understand defenses are a lot harder, I'd say. At that age, being 18 years old, being a point guard, and being able to run the offense like that, I think it's very, very impressive. He's a big lefty, so he gets that stroke down. I mean, he can shoot it. Very, very confident in his shot. I think that's a byproduct of him wanting to score the basketball and averaging almost 20 points in college. That's pretty impressive. A couple of those, threes a game maybe. So he definitely can break down his defender. Step back, as he's driving to the paint, but then also he's a threat from 3. So you're definitely not going to leave this dude wide open. I'll tell you that right now. You're not going to leave him wide open. He could shoot the 3. He's a threat once he gets inside of the 3-point line with the mid-range. Doesn't float a whole ton because of that 6'6", 215 frame that we'll talk about in a sec. Take it strong to the rim. He has that vert where he can punch on your head. You're not going to be able to really block him super easily. He's a very confident player, and that's what you want from a scorer. Guys like that I can think of are like Ant, kind of, where it's like, hey, Ant is not an amazing 3-point shooter, but you definitely don't want him going to the rim because he will destroy you down there. So, kind of in the same vein. Going back to his build, he's 6'6", 215 pounds with a 6'10 wingspan. Vert, I try to look it up, and it says obviously somewhere around a 40-inch. Looking at other guys in the NBA who are 6'6", and around 215, I just went, give or take 10 pounds. We got RJ Barrett, Jaylen Brown, Stephon Castle, Dalton Connect, and Cade Cunningham. So that makes me think if Dylan Harper's a lot bigger of a player, because a lot of these guys play the 3. I mean, RJ Barrett, shooting guard, the 2 or the 3. Jaylen Brown, the 2 or the 3. Dalton Connect, 2 or the 3. Cade Cunningham, definitely big point guard. But being that bigger point guard, kind of like Cade, we'll talk about the comparison in a sec, allows him to do a lot. Like I said, drive downhill. He's big, muscular, so he can go down weighing 215. That's not small at all. 6'6", 215's pretty big boy. So definitely quick on his feet. Definitely can make some good reads. It's going to be interesting to see how he can translate that offense into the NBA. So his comparisons, he said himself that he plays like Cade Cunningham, that he wants to play like Cade Cunningham. I think Cade is a better point guard than Dylan overall. I mean, Cade right now in the NBA, I think is like 3rd or 4th in assists per game with like 9. And he's getting buckets. The Pistons are actually playing really well. So go check out the other stuff on the channel if you want to go see that. I do a lot of NBA content, so go check that out. My actual comparison is Shai, because Cade is a little bit bigger and bulkier, and probably a better passer overall. But in terms of like scoring mindset and around the same build, I'm going to go with Shai. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, the fact that I'm comparing him to somebody who is an MVP candidate is pretty good. But Shai's game showcases what I'm trying to say about Dylan. So that's why I'm doing it. So if you watch Dylan, he's shifty. He goes downhill a lot. Both hands, like I talked about, he's strong. He's an iffy shooter, but if he's open, like I said, he'll shoot it. So all those things I was thinking about a player, and I was like, that's pretty much just Shai. Shai likes to go around ball screens, utilize those, hang out in the mid-range, make some moves, go downhill, score at the rim. He can jump up and he can dunk it, right? So he has that vert. And Shai as well, if he's open, he'll shoot the basketball, and he can make it. So, and both of these guys, I didn't mention that Dylan is a great shot creator. So whether it's in the mid-range, post fade, stuff like that, getting at the rim, he can also make a move, kind of James Harden style, step back, hit a three. So don't let the three-point percentage fool you on everything that he does. He's a very, very great player overall. But that's my comparison right now is he says Cade, I'm going to say Shai just for the sake of how they play. Strengths and weaknesses for Dylan Harper. I could see him being a great backup guard for a team. And I have to kind of think about how many point guards there are in the NBA at the moment. Basically, even look at the bad teams like the Pistons. Hornets, they got LaMelo. Wizards, they got Jordan Poole. They just got Bub Carrington, traded for AJ Johnson. So they've got some options over there. Even in Portland, you got Scoot, you got Anthony Simons, you got Shaded Sharp, you got some guard options right there. So even the really, really bad teams that are going to be tanking have good guard options. Even like the Spurs now. Spurs have De'Aaron Fox and Chris Paul. So I think he's going to end up maybe happening with what Rob Dillingham did last year, where Rob Dillingham, top 10 talent, 100%, but then comes into the NBA, comes off the bench, gets some minutes here and there, but isn't really like that good. Same with Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard went to a team that had very, very good guards, had a solid core, doesn't really play much. So I could see the same thing happen to Dylan. I wouldn't be surprised just because he goes top 3. Reed Sheppard was 3rd, I believe. 3rd? Yeah, I think he was 3rd or 4th. And he's barely playing in the NBA right now. So just take a note of that. I think Dylan is better than Reed Sheppard overall. And the star potential is definitely there for a guy of his caliber. But pay attention to him and how he plays with the team he goes drafted to. It's all circumstantial. So if he goes to the right team, I hope he can get playing time. I really like watching this. But I think NBA kind of G League development will help this dude really blossom. I mean, look at what the G League's doing for Bronny right now. And guys like Reed Sheppard as well. It'll be a second. I think he has the talent to definitely play on the NBA level for some time. He's a very confident player. If you guys don't remember, I think it was like sometime last year, a bunch of prospects came and played, and he played against Cooper Flagg, and there was some crazy back and forth that game, and he is a very confident dude that he, after I think scoring on Cooper, yelled to the crowd, "I'm number 1 pick." Like, it's me. I'm the number 1 pick. So he's got that mindset that he is going to be the best that he could be, and that you need that instead of being kind of quiet, passive. That's where I think he's different than Shai. Shai coming into the league didn't even say a word. I could say that as a Clippers fan. Drafted in, played here for a year, and didn't really say anything. So he's a very confident dude now, but going into the draft and going to Rutgers, where it's like, hey, I'm going to go play for kind of my hometown team. I'm going to go ball out. I mean, he's averaging almost 20 points per game. Very good rookie or freshman year at Rutgers, especially when you're playing alongside another top 5 pick, potentially. So the confidence is definitely there. That's definitely a giant strength and an upside for this kid. Like I said multiple times before, one of the most impressive skills that I've seen him have is being able to finish with both hands at the rim. His verticality, and I don't know what his vert is, like I said before, he can dunk the ball, and that really elevates his slashing to kind of like Ant levels, where it's like, hey, I can go up, but then I'm also going to go up another level, and you're not going to be able to touch me, and I'm going to finish on top. It's very, very interesting to see how he's going to be able to use that in the NBA, because a lot of guys are going stupid with the dunks in college, and they come in the NBA, they're like, hey, I don't know if I want to dunk over like Giannis or anybody like that, unless you're John Morant, then or like Zion. But a lot of these young guys come in, so I want to see if he can keep that verticality up in terms of his slashing, because it elevates his slashing literally and metaphorically to a different level. And I know I put 2 turnovers on the list, and just because it's a point guard, I want to put that to kind of talk about stuff, but that's less of a representation of how like careless he is passing. It's more of a, hey, I have the ball in my hands all the time, and I'm going to have 2 turnovers a game. I'm surprised that there's not more than 2 turnovers a game for this kid, just because of how much, if you watch Rutgers, this dude has the ball in his hands all the time. Great off-ball player, can make a shot for himself very, very quickly, can create for others very quickly. But having the ball in his hands a ton means that you're going to have turnovers. So the fact that it's only 2.4 per game Not bad at all. So what's my verdict? I think he's the best shot creator and scorer in the draft. Purely, that's what he does. Defensively, he's cool. Big guard. Can guard maybe 1 to 2, 1 to 3 in college. Maybe even 1 to 4. NBA, we'll see how that translates. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad defender at all. He gets after it. He's confident, strong-willed, big body. Like I said, 6'6", 215 is not small at all, especially playing point guard, going up against other point guards. So play a guy like Jalen Brunson. If you can keep up with him, you'll be able to body him pretty quick just because of how small Brunson is. Brunson's very good, by the way. I don't want to trash on him right now. But definitely, I think the best that I've seen at getting buckets consistently in the draft, that's reflected by his 20 points per game. Every team has a point guard, basically. And so I think that he's going to be a great off-the-bench bucket if he can come in to be a six-man for a good team, maybe a starter for a bad team. We'll see how that goes up. But I hope this dude plays. I love watching him play. Hopefully, you guys are able to learn something about him and hopefully my opinion. And my takes will go forward, and we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, Prospect Week is going on, so that's all I got for today. We got a video out every single day. If you're watching this, we already have one up for Cooper Flag from yesterday. Go check that out. I'm really excited for this draft class. I did this last year, and let's just say last year's draft class was not a fun time. So this year, I'm very excited because we got a lot of guys coming out. So that's all I got for today. Go check those out. We out.